Why do some people study with the kind of focus that looks almost unreal, like they're plugged into a hidden power source, while you open a book and instantly feel sleepy? If you've ever wondered that, this is exactly the idea you've been missing. It's not that they were born with magical discipline. It's not that they enjoy studying more than you do. In most cases, they simply protect one thing better than you, their dopamine baseline in the first hour of the day. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your motivation, your emotions, your drive, your ability to concentrate, almost all of it is strongly tied to dopamine. Dopamine is not happiness. It's more like the brain's go-do-it-again chemical. It marks what feels rewarding. It pushes you toward what feels exciting, what feels urgent, what feels like it will pay off. And the most dangerous time to mess with dopamine is right after you wake up. Think about your morning honestly. You wake up. Before you even wash your face or get out of bed, your hand reaches for your phone. You tell yourself just a quick check. You open TikTok, or Instagram, or YouTube Shorts, or your messages. 5 minutes later, you're still there, smiling at a cat video, scrolling comments, tapping hearts, watching one more clip that turns into 10. And right at that moment, your brain is doing something powerful. It's getting a dopamine spike. Notifications, novelty, fast-changing visuals, quick jokes, short rewards. These things explode dopamine like fireworks. It feels great in the moment. You feel interested. You feel awake. You feel pulled in. Your brain is basically saying yes. This. More. But here's what most people don't understand: when dopamine spikes hard, it doesn't just stay high. It drops. It drops below baseline. Imagine a graph. When you wake up, dopamine starts at a stable level. Not exciting, not boring, just neutral. The moment you open your phone and start feeding on fast entertainment, dopamine shoots up like a rocket. Then it crashes. And when it crashes, everything else feels heavy, especially studying. That's why you can want to study and still hate it. Your brain is comparing. It's comparing the slow reward of learning to the instant reward of scrolling. After the crash, studying feels like punishment. You sit down with a textbook for 15 minutes, and it feels like an hour. Your brain whispers, "This is boring. This is hard. Stop." Go back to the phone. And because your brain remembers the easy dopamine spike, you obey. Then you pick up your phone again. Dopamine spikes again. Then it crashes again. Then you feel emptier again. Then studying feels even worse. And without realizing it, you enter a loop: spike, crash, craving, spike, crash, craving. The more you repeat it, the more your brain learns that real life is dull and the phone is relief. Now, look at the people who seem addicted to studying. Many of them aren't superhuman. They aren't saints. They just avoid blowing up dopamine first thing in the morning. They protect baseline dopamine like it's gold. So when they start studying, their brain isn't comparing study time to TikTok time. Their brain isn't coming down from a crash. It's steady. That's the difference. This is the secret: you don't need to learn to love studying. You need to stop doing the things that make you hate it. Here's the morning habit that changes everything. It sounds too simple at first, and that's why most people ignore it. But it works because it targets the real problem: dopamine timing. The habit starts the night before, because if your phone is within reach, you'll touch it. Willpower is not a plan. So set up your environment. Put your phone on silent. Turn off non-essential notification. Charge it far from your bed. If you can, leave it across the room. Even better, leave it outside your bedroom. Make it slightly annoying to read. The goal is not to become anti-phone. The goal is to stop your brain from getting an instant dopamine hit before you've done anything meaningful. In the morning, the first rule is brutal and simple. Do not touch your phone when you open your eyes. Not just a quick check. Not I'll only look at messages. Not I'll just turn off the alarm and oops. No, because even a few minutes of scrolling can trigger the spike and crash pattern. You don't need a long binge to mess up your baseline. Your brain is sensitive. So what do? Instead, you sit up. You breathe. You do a short meditation. Now, if the word meditation makes you roll your eyes, forget the spiritual image. This isn't about being mystical. This is biology. Meditation is one of the quickest ways to stabilize your nervous system and return dopamine to a healthy baseline. It reduces noise. It lowers the urge to chase stimulation. It gives you a clean slate. And the best part, it doesn't have to be long. Even 3 to 5 minutes is enough to shift your state. Sit still. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Breathe slowly. Don't force your mind to be blank. Minds don't become blank on command. Instead, do something simpler. Notice the thoughts without following them. You'll probably hear a loud inner voice. At first, I'm tired. This is boring. I don't want to study. I'm behind. I'm not smart enough. I should check my phone. These thoughts are not truth. They are noise, old loops. When you sit still, you finally hear how loud they've been. Keep breathing. Let the loops play without acting on them. After a minute or two, something happens. The volume turns down. The mind doesn't disappear, but it stops grabbing you by the collar. You feel calmer, cleaner, less hungry for stimulation. That's your baseline returning. But there's a second layer that makes this habit powerful. You don't meditate only to calm down. You meditate to remember who you are becoming. During those few minutes, ask yourself one simple question. Who do I need to be today? Not in a dramatic, cheesy way. In a practical way. Who do you want to become 6 months from now? A person with confidence, a person who doesn't panic before exams, a person who can focus, a person who learns faster, a person who feels proud of their effort. Then ask, what would that person do this morning? This is how you build motivation without forcing it. Most people lose motivation because they forget their reason. They don't fail because they are lazy. They fail because they forget. They start strong, then life distracts them, and the reason becomes blurry. A short morning reset brings the reason back into focus. So you breathe and you remind yourself, today I move forward. Today I do the hard thing early. Today I become the person I'm trying to be. That tiny identity reminder is not fluff. It changes behavior. Your brain loves identity. When you tell yourself, I'm the kind of person who studies, your actions start aligning. Not perfectly, not instantly, but consistently. Now comes the part that transforms everything. Right after meditation, you study immediately. Not after breakfast, not after checking messages, not after getting ready. Immediately. Why? Because at this moment, your dopamine is at the perfect baseline. Your brain is clear. You haven't spiked your reward system with cheap stimulation. Your attention is available. This is what makes studying feel lighter. Prepare the study space the night before. Keep it simple. Laptop and notebook. Or textbook and pen. Nothing else. No clutter. No distractions. No snacks to play with. No, maybe I'll reorganize my desk first. You want zero friction. You want to sit down and start. This is what feels almost unfair when you study during this clean baseline window. It's easier to enter flow. Flow is the state where you are so engaged that time disappears. People often think flow is a talent. It's not. Flow is a reward system event. When the brain finds a challenge that's doable and meaningful, it starts releasing dopamine naturally as you progress. You begin to enjoy learning because learning becomes the dopamine source. That's the flip. Instead of dopamine coming from scrolling, dopamine starts coming from studying. At first it won't feel magical. Your brain has been trained to crave fast rewards. Studying is slower. But if you keep the morning clean, something changes within days. You begin to feel a strange satisfaction when you understand a difficult concept. When you finish a set of problems, when you write a clean paragraph, the brain starts labeling learning as rewarding. It becomes like a game, but in a better way. In games, you get rewards by completing challenges. In studying, you get rewards by building capability. The unlock isn't a new character. It's a stronger you. This is why some people look addicted to studying. They're not disciplined all the time. They've simply built a reward loop where studying gives dopamine and scrolling is delayed. The core strategy is not adding more habit. It's removing one harmful habit, high stimulation before studying. That means no social media in the first hour after waking. No short videos, no random content, no notification, no doom scrolling, no just checking. Because those 5 minutes are not 5 minutes. They're a chemical decision that shapes your whole morning. If you remove that, you beat most people without even trying harder. Now here's a question you might have. So, am I never allowed to use social media? Or games? Of course you can. The issue isn't using them. The issue is using them first. Think of it like dessert. Dessert isn't evil. But if you eat dessert before your meal, your appetite gets destroyed. Everything else tastes boring. You'll struggle to eat real food. The same thing happens with dopamine. If you start the day with instant rewards, real work feels tasteless. So flip the order. Use entertainment as a reward after you study, not as your warm-up. This simple timing change is the tiny switch. It's small, but it restarts your motivation engine. And when you struggle, even with the perfect morning, you need another tool: micro start. Most people wait to feel motivated before they begin. That's backwards. Motivation often comes after you start. Action triggers dopamine. Not huge action, but small action. If 2 hours of study feels impossible, start with 5 minutes. If writing a report feels unbearable, write the title first. If cleaning your desk feels annoying, move one book. Tiny actions are ignition. They tell the brain we are moving. Once you move, dopamine rises naturally. Then focus returns. Then momentum builds. This is exactly how you start a car. You don't slam the gas at the beginning. You turn the key. You let the engine catch. Then you drive. The same with studying. Your brain needs an easy entry. When you demand maximum effort immediately, you create resistance. When you start tiny, you bypass resistance. But there's one more layer. Most people ignore dopamine. Isn't only chemistry. It's also meaning. If you don't have a reason to study, even perfect dopamine management will feel empty. You might focus, but you'll still feel bored. So you need to connect study to a strong emotion. Ask yourself, does this action move me closer to the person I want to become? If the answer is yes, tie it to pride, gratitude, or excitement. Pride for effort. Gratitude for having the chance to learn. Excitement for becoming capable. This matters because the brain doesn't only remember actions. It remembers the feeling attached to the action. If studying repeatedly brings a feeling of progress, the brain will chase it. If studying repeatedly brings a feeling of shame or pressure, the brain will avoid it. That's why the morning identity reset works so well. It changes the emotional tone. Instead of, I have to study, it becomes, I'm building myself. Here's what a simple routine can look like. The exact times don't matter. The order matters. Wake up. No phone. 3 to 5 minutes of calm breathing and mental reset. Sit down and study immediately for a focused block. After that, breakfast shower messages the rest of your day. If you can do this for 3 days, you'll feel a clear difference. Less sleepy when you open a book, less craving for scrolling, more focus, faster learning, less mental fatigue. And the weirdest part, you'll start wanting to study more. Not because someone forces you, because your brain begins rewarding learning again. This is why people say motivation doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from stability. A stable baseline gives you a stable drive. A chaotic dopamine roller coaster gives you chaotic focus. Your morning sets the tone for the entire day. When you begin your day with a dopamine shock, you're borrowing your motivation and spending it on cheap stimulation. Then you wonder why you feel empty when it's time to work. When you begin with calm and focus, you save your dopamine for something that builds you. Then the day feels easier, even if the work is hard. And if you fall off the routine, don't make it dramatic. Don't label yourself undisciplined. Just return to the order. Put the phone away again. Do a short reset. Start tiny. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. You don't need to become a robot. You just need to protect your first hour. Because once the brain relearns that studying can be rewarding, everything changes. You stop begging for motivation. You stop needing pressure. You stop relying on panic. You become the kind of person who can sit down and work because your reward system is finally on your side. So, start tonight. Move your phone away from your bed. Put it on silent. Make the morning clean. When you wake up, don't feed your brain instant dopamine. Breathe. Reset. Sit down. Begin. Keep it small if you need to. Let the engine catch. And after a while, you'll notice something that feels almost unbelievable. You won't need to force yourself to study anymore, because the process itself starts giving you what you used to chase on a screen: excitement, satisfaction, progress, and that quiet addictive feeling of becoming better than you were yesterday.